Police urgently search for a man who opened fire on officers in National City this morning. The similar shooting just weeks ago, in which police say he's also a suspect.
As fallout continues from Georgia's controversial new voting law, people in San Diego rally in support of a new law being discussed at the federal level.
Plus, how a San Diego Navy sailor is using a new hobby in a positively San Diego way, raising thousands of dollars to help those who need it most.
ABC 10 News at 6 starts now.
For 3 months, detectives and search parties have been looking for a missing Chula Vista mother and wife. Tonight, we spoke with the family lawyer who says that he was alarmed by what he saw in the house days after Maya Milliete's disappearance. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Lindsay Pena in for Kimberly Hunt. ABC 10 News anchor Vanessa Van Hefty explains what that lawyer calls red flags.
Maya Milliete's sister and brother-in-law want answers from police.
3 months.
Too long.
Yeah.
Mary Chris and Richard Drolier are losing patience and are now sharing new details about the case through their lawyer, Billy Little, who toured Milliete's home 4 days after Maya went missing. He says Maya's husband, Larry, opened the door.
It was obvious that the house had been cleaned, all the windows were open, the fans were on full blast, other than the fact that he was obviously airing the house out.
According to family, the missing mother of 3 filed for divorce on January 7th, the last day she was seen. Larry telling 10 News the two had argued, and he last saw her in the couple's bedroom. Little says that bedroom had a lock and had been recently repaired.
There were holes in the walls, and then there was a freshly repaired hole right next to the doorknob.
Little also noted a freezer had been removed from the garage. He alerted police detectives. The freezer was later recovered at a relative's.
I found that freezer at a relative's house.
In a written statement to 10 News, Larry Milliete calls the information false allegations and blatant lies, saying Little presented himself as a federal agent NCIS to gain access to my home. So what does that tell you about his character? Little says he did not lie about his identity. Meantime, Chula Vista Lieutenant Dan Peak says leads are pouring in, including a murder-for-hire scenario he would not elaborate on, insisting this is not a cold case. Every single weekend, without fail, family and community members have organized search parties for Maya. Many are complete strangers who know her only through flyers and billboards.
We are very thankful for that. We are very, very grateful for everyone.
Vanessa Van Hefty, ABC 10 News.
Chula Vista detectives say they still get 1 to 2 leads a day. The smallest tip may unhinge the whole case, and they're encouraging people to call if they have any information. Police are looking for a man who they say has now been involved in 2 shootings with law enforcement in as many weeks. This is Christopher Marquez. National City Police say he was a passenger in a stolen car when officers pulled it over early this morning. Officers say they surrounded that car in a Jack-in-the-Box drive-thru. 2 people in the car cooperated and were detained, but they say Marquez took off running, then turned back and fired several shots at the officers. Officers returned fire and were not hurt. Marquez is also accused of shooting at 2 bounty hunters inside of a Chula Vista home back in mid-March. One of those bounty hunters was injured. Anyone with information on Marquez is asked to call National City Police.
Protesters in San Diego, downtown San Diego, they called on Congress today to pass a new ethics and voting rights bill. Our ABC 10 News reporter Adam Mercruzen explains it comes just days after Georgia passed a controversial new election law.
Tonight, politicians taking to social media supporting and criticizing new voting laws. Texas Governor Greg Abbott tweeting that he was scheduled to throw out the first pitch at the Texas Rangers home opener. However, after Major League Baseball's decision to move the All-Star game out of Georgia because of its new election law, he will not participate. California Senator Alex Padilla also tweeting about new election laws, saying this is part of a full-scale assault on the core of our democracy. We must stop it by eliminating the filibuster and passing the For the People Act. It's a statement echoed by this small group of people protesting outside San Diego's federal building.
The For the People Act needs for the American people to be passed.
The For the People Act would make major changes to voting, campaign finance, and ethics.
It's been passed in the House of Representatives, and it's being currently or will soon be discussed at length in the Senate.
The protest comes just days after Georgia passed a sweeping new election law. Here's what's at issue. The Georgia law adds a photo ID requirement for voting absentee by mail, cuts the amount of time people have to request an absentee ballot, and limits where drop boxes can be placed and when they can be accessed. The new law also prevents people from passing out food or water to voters waiting in line. And it gives the state election board power to intervene in county election offices and to remove and replace local election officials. The law has set off a firestorm of lawsuits and received criticism from Democrats and some big businesses. Georgia's governor pushed back, saying the new law expands early voting.
It means cancel culture and partisan activists are coming for your business.
Adam Rakusin, ABC 10 News.
The House of Representatives passed the For the People's Act just last month. It's currently with the Senate.
Turning now to coronavirus in San Diego County, where our 14-day rolling average for positive cases has now dropped almost to 2%. It hasn't been that low since last summer. There were just 127 new cases reported today, our lowest increase in 3 weeks. And as is normal for a Monday, the county didn't report any new COVID-related deaths. Another shortage in doses will see the Del Mar Vaccine Superstation close later this week. Those closures will happen on Wednesday, then again from Friday through Sunday. Scripps, which runs the site, says it again received a low shipment of doses last week. Anyone who has an appointment on those days will automatically be rescheduled. The site had to close for 3 days last week, also because of a low number of doses.
County leaders want to give some relief to the area's event industry as it tries to recover from a disastrous year. Supervisor Nathan Fletcher unveiled a policy today to waive event permit fees over the next fiscal year.
The events industry brought 2.7 million visitors and $3.5 billion in spending to San Diego in 2019. 2020 obviously tells a very different story, but we are in a position now as we come out of COVID-19, as we come out of this pandemic, we have to intentionally support and help those industries that have been hardest hit. We have to help them recover, we have to help them rebuild, and we have to move forward together to get them not only back on their feet, but playing the vital and important role that they play in San Diego.
Fletcher says waiving the fees would cost the county more than $2 million in revenue, but he says the plan is to use money from the American Rescue Plan to make up for the loss. The County Board of Supervisors will discuss the proposal at its meeting tomorrow.
Hundreds of people, including children, killed during civil unrest in Myanmar. The military overtook the civilian government in February. ABC 10 News reporter Melissa Messiha shows us how a local organization that helps refugees is trying to raise awareness about what they're calling crimes against humanity.
April Mu was born and raised in a refugee camp in Thailand.
Life in refugee camp was difficult.
Her parents fled Burma, now Myanmar, because of civil war and conflict between ethnic minorities and the military. April's family is Karen, one of the many ethnic minorities there.
We have been persecuted by the Burmese military regime for over 70 years.
The troubles now worsened since the military seized control in February. April said not only are pro-democracy demonstrators getting killed in the cities, military airstrikes have targeted ethnic minorities in the villages.
Thinking about all those innocent lives that are taken, I feel helpless.
She's been in San Diego for 13 years now, dedicated to helping other refugees as student coordinator with the Karen organization of San Diego. According to one watchdog group, as of Monday, 570 people have been killed by the coup. At least 43 are children.
This is a crime against humanity.
Now Kabashima is the Karen organization's executive director.
We need a democracy. We need a peaceful future for our children. And then those people who are not using any violence forces are getting killed. And then the children who are just being with father at home, they were killed, shot on the head.
They've helped roughly 2,000 refugees from Burma. Currently, about 1,000 seek services regularly. Now they hope San Diegans and government officials don't turn a blind eye to the atrocities overseas.
What's the one message you want people of San Diego to understand what's going on?
I think this is the moment that no one should be silent.
If this is your children, your parents, your siblings, how would you feel? This is about human rights.
Melissa Messiha, ABC 10 News.
On Saturday, the Karen organization is hosting a community rally to speak out against the military coup. That starts at 11 near the City Heights Library.
The San Diego Convention Center is nearing capacity as more unaccompanied migrant children are sheltered there. Nearly 200 more children arrived yesterday. They are the younger siblings of the girls who arrived earlier, including some boys between ages 5 and 12. There are now more than 1,300 children there, with the capacity just over 1,400. At this point, none of the children have been reunited with their families or their American sponsors. Health and Human Services estimates that each child will spend around 30 days at that facility.
Polling places open tomorrow for in-person voting in the 79th Assembly District special election. Mail-in ballots also went out several weeks ago. Dr. Shirley Weber vacated the seat when she was named California Secretary of State. The 5 candidates include Weber's daughter, Dr. Aquila Weber, Marco Contreras, Aramik Glass-Blake, Letitia Mungia, and Shane Suzanne Parmley. Tomorrow is the last day to cast a ballot. The registrar's office and assigned polling places will be open from 7 to 8. COVID protocols will be in place.
An iconic site along the coast in Carlsbad is about to come down this month. Our partners at KPBS report the Encina power plant smokestack is being demolished. Of course, it stood for nearly 50 years, built in the 70s to replace 4 smaller stacks. In addition to the power that it provided, the stack also served as a landmark for pilots in the air and ships at sea. The power plant was decommissioned 3 years ago under an agreement that smokestack would come down no later than this year. Some in Carlsbad are sad to see it go.
I think powers that be kind of missed an opportunity. That's such an iconic landmark here. You know, that could have been repurposed into a building that could have been a visitor, a visitor's kind of mall with shops and all those kinds of things.
It will be torn down in segments, about 10 feet a day, but that was paused yesterday after falcon's eggs were found at the site. The company is waiting for permission from the state before continuing.